BBI and small businesses. Good. Collins, let me pick your sentiment on that. Collins, you say that when it comes to the political aspect of BBI, especially when it comes to giving us a roadmap and exactly what we need to do, you're already saying that it is precise. It's already known that everything that needs to be done is already there. But then you say, compare that with the bigger part of that, smaller businesses and the economy. You're saying that it could be quite vague. But Colin, somebody's going to ask you, isn't it a starting point for us to chart our way forward?
Thank you for that. A starting point for what or from what? What is this thing that happened so much that made us to realize that we need a document that addresses our executive expansion? Nothing.
Yes.
Beyond just losing elections. So really, our starting point is the Constitution, and the Constitution is a Grundnorm. It has everything that you'd want to talk about insofar as the rule of law is concerned. But we're having a document that has not been respected over the last 10 years. We're having court orders that are just like success cards. I mean, it's like we are wishing the government well through our Constitution. And so we're having a government that does not respect the laws. So if you're even going to bring amendments through the BBI proposal, what guarantee do we have that the government is going to address that or to be bound by that? Nothing. I mean, if we had a trend, or rather, if this government had already established a record whereby they are observance of the rule of law, they implement the Constitution to the latter, then I will not be susceptible to, I will not be fearful of the recommendations that are coming out from the BBI. I mean, yes. I came to realize that this government, it's as good as just an embodiment of empty rhetoric. And so all the proposals that are concerned here are just geared towards endearing the people to the BBI. But the real plan at the end of it is what the key players are looking at, how they are going to fit into the system, how they are going to provide for themselves. That is the thing. I mean, you don't have to read that whole document for you to know that there is no grand thing that is coming out towards addressing the youth. There is nothing big that is coming out towards addressing SMEs. There's nothing. I mean, they have failed to address the root cause of why we are having a stalemate. They have failed to even address the issue of debt. They have failed to address the overspending and overborrowing. They have failed to offer as a substantive solution towards corruption. I mean, in this executive, if you've not talked about these issues that are ailing the common money,
yes,
anything. It is just the same state that we've been in for the longest time, only that we are in a new forest for the same monkeys.
Pretty much quite an end there from Collins. Joram, let me bring you in as well. I mean, 2020 wasn't good for us, the entire of the economy. I would like to think that the people felt the heat. Are the youth, again, we saw the number of jobs that were lost and the unemployment rate, even in quarter one, quarter two, and quarter three. Again, we do have those statistics. Well, from what you're saying this morning, as somebody who has an inside-out approach on what the challenges of smaller business in the country are, Joram, as we start 2021, what do we need to address in our smaller business for us to say, well, we are charting our way forward?
I think one of the biggest things, because we did do a study around this in terms of what are the sentiments of small and medium-sized enterprises,
yes,
especially coming out of COVID and then looking ahead. When we look ahead, what do we see?
Yes.
We will probably have electioneering as far as BBI is concerned. And then as soon as we are done, we get into electioneering as far as, the next 2022 elections are concerned. So we are looking at a period of, 3 years of electioneering. And to be honest, the proper recovery is likely to happen in 2023. So if we're going to have a depressed economy for that period, because when you look at the debt situation, it's very clear that we are in a constrained position. We are even having, the government getting to a place where they have to restructure that debt so that we can be able to, survive through the year as an economy. So the thing at the top of the minds of SMEs is, are we going, uncertainty about what does the future look like if you're looking at, just coming out of COVID. Of course, some of the measures that have been taken have, worked well in terms of relaxing, the rules around travel. now people going back to schools. You know, the education sector is a very big part of the economy. When people are not supplying food, stationery, and the like to schools, there's a large part of the economy that is closed down. And then we've had a resumption of travel. So we've seen a bit of a recovery from the COVID period. We are looking forward towards, the vaccine becoming widespread.
Yes.
Although as far as Africa is concerned, we are looking at that happening maybe in the second half of the year onwards. So it can paint a bit of a gloomy picture, but what we saw was a lot of resilience last year, where a lot of SMEs adapted quite quickly. And so they may need to remain in that adapted state, going online, doing business through e-commerce and these kinds of things. We saw a lot of uptake on that front. So I think it's preparing for a gradual recovery, but that the real recovery is likely to happen, in 2023 because of the political issues that are likely to happen in the 2 years in between.
Yes. Gentlemen, we appreciate your time here at Metropole TV's Business AM. Thank you very much for taking your time to talk to us into what the BBI really envisions of smaller businesses in the economy.
Thank you so much.
All right, Collins, thank you very much. You're not at position number 1 anymore as we take this break. All right, once we come back, let's talk about more plans for the government. The budget policy statement 2021-2022. How much are we planning to spend? How much overhaul has the COVID-19 pandemic dug into our plan? And are we running away from expensive loans and an ever-rising budget deficit? Once we come here on Metropole Television.